Hi everybody. This week's lab is Potato Soup Lab and our focus is on knife skills. You're going to need these materials at home and in class. You don't need the phone in class. You're going to set up a plate with 8 sections and you'll see the names of those sections on the worksheet. You're going to need a paring knife, a chef's knife, potato, a peeler, a garbage bowl, and a ruler. Peel your potato into your garbage bowl. You'll also need a separate bowl eventually filled with ice water, so you might want to get that prepared as well. And this is the fastest I've ever peeled a potato. Once you have your potato peeled, grip it with your bear claw. Is the hardest cut, the most dangerous cut is a round item. Hold your knife in the proper way, as I've showed you, and use your bear claw, and you're directly over your product. Your eyes are right over the potato, and you're getting a nice straight cut, 1/4 inch or less. If you can try 1/8 of an inch, more like a potato chip cut, that's even better. But I want to see even cuts all the way around the potato. That slice should be even all the way around. Take some of your pears or your peels and put them on the pear item on the plate. And then you're going to rotate your potato around and get some nice squared off potato cuts. So then you have kind of this long, elongated, rectangular item to deal with. You're going to create like a very thick French fry, and we're going to start with the cube, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. So you can see I started with like a potato stick that was 1/2 inch all the way around, and then I cut 1/2 inch pieces off. Here I'm taking the 1/2 inch and cutting it in half, and that equals a dice. That's 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. So now I have a cube and a dice. Again, here I am cutting a 1/4 inch French fry stick, and then I slowly go down the stick and create 1/4 inch cubes. My cutting board is slippery. It's not safe. I have to put a wet towel down. Please be safe. Here we go again. I'm going to do 1/4 inch. Rotate the cube of French fry around, get another 1/4 inch, and then go down the line and cut it with my bear claw, and my tip of the blade is always staying on the board. This is a rough chop here. Tip of the blade's on the board. We're using the rocker motion, and my hand is on top. Rough chop is a slightly large, irregular chop. Next is a mince. That is a smaller cut. Using the rocker blade, and the tip of the blade is on the board. We mince ingredients like aromatics. I want you to find out what aromatics are and understand what those are before next class. Here is the start of julienne. This is like an 1/8 inch by 1/8 inch by 1 to 2 inch French fry. Okay, we sometimes see julienne carrots in sushi rolls. Very pretty cut. The smaller you get, you can do fine julienne at 1/16 inch. You can do fine mince at 1/16 inch. Here I'm cutting a julienne at the proper size, 1/8 by 1/8 by 1 to 2 inch. You're going to set your plate up and put any imperfections, go back and fix them. So my cube was a little big, so I'm double checking the 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch and creating a few more cubes for my display. It's okay to go back and check your work and edit. You'll have enough potato, hopefully, to do this. Take a picture of your plate when you're done, or call me over. Place all your, once you call me over, place your, I have to see it and grate it, or you've taken a picture, you're going to place any extra potatoes, other than the skins, any extra potatoes, water, so they don't put them in a bowl of ice water. This prevents oxidation. And then you can set those aside. Stop here and take a picture and call me over to your station. So that was practice, and here's the recipe we're going to create. Perfect potato soup. I didn't name it. So this recipe can be found on Canvas. You should print it out and have it next to you. And you should read through the whole thing before beginning, like I always say. We're going to go through cutting carrots, celery, onion, parsley, and bacon for this recipe, so we'll practice our knife skills. Remember, the sharpest knife is the safest knife, so try to have a sharp knife. Big Y will sharpen them for free if you go to their butcher station. So if you have a chef's knife at home and you want it sharpened, they'll do that for you. So let's start with celery. We have we're going to cut the length of the celery after we trim it. We're going to trim the ends. Make sure you have proper knife hold. Make sure you're using the bear claw. You can divide larger celery into 4 sections long way. And then you can cut across, and then you get a nice dice, 1/4 inch every time you go along the length of it, and you'll get a nice dice. And that'll be good for soup. Then you're going to peel your carrots into your garbage bowl. These peels are a nice garnish for salads, so really good chefs try to not waste any food scraps. And all these vegetable scraps could be used to create a stock as well. But for today, we're just going to show you how various methods of cutting a carrot. You don't have to do all of these right now for the soup. I'm just going to have you do the dice for the soup, but I wanted to show you the methods of cutting carrot. So this is 45-degree angle. That's a 90-degree angle. You're going to cut along at 45. We call it the bias cut. And I'm cutting every 1/8 inch down the carrot. And we get a nice elongated, fancy cut. You can see that there. The shape is kind of interesting, right? Then we're going to try a 1/16 inch cut. And you can see you want to be really directly over your product again. When you want a straight cut, you want your eyes right over the product you're cutting. So here we have 1/16 inch cut on the bias of a carrot. And then we're going to stack these cuts together or layer them on top of each other. This is an interesting technique. So once you have it sort of like stacked, use your bear claw. Use your knuckles as your defense, and then you can cut nice tiny slices across that layered set of stacked carrots, and you get some interesting shapes. And a nice garnish again. It's pretty. It's nice, evenly cut. And those are some techniques for carrot. Again, you don't have to do these cuts for your soup today. I just want you to know about them, and you should practice them if you're ever bored and you're at home and you want to cook for your family. Another way is to cut half the carrot, right? Cut it down, trim it. Carrots are a lot tougher than celery, so working in the round shape is more dangerous. You want to cut them down, and here we go for our soup. This is what I'd like you to do. Nice 1/4 inch cuts down the length of the carrots. And we can use these bits for our soup. All of this that you're cutting with and practicing with can be frozen. What I did is I cut them in August and then I froze them, and then I took them out in September to create this video. So here's another rotating cut. I rarely use this one. It's big and chunky, but it's kind of fun, right? You rotate the carrot and cut along the bias, and you get these big chunks. Kind of different, right? And look at that mise en place board. I'm showing you all my cuts nice and neat. This would be a great time to take a picture of your practice and upload it to the reflection. And then here's some sticks, julienne. If you want larger julienne, right there, that looks more like 1/4 inch, and they're pretty long. But good picture for mise en place. You can see it whenever I freeze anything, I label it and date it. Onions, again, round is the most dangerous cut. You're going to cut through the end that's not the root ball. Okay, so this is the stem end, right, where the shoots come up. Cut first, then peel. It's a lot faster. Try to learn efficiency in the kitchen. I got a little stuck on that. So see how that big chunk peels right off? It's because I cut the end first. Okay, I kept the root ball intact for a reason. Keep that root ball together. So then we're going to cut right through the center of that root ball. The onion is still held together by half the root ball. A flat item is a lot easier and less dangerous to cut with. And then I'm going to bear claw as best I can on a round item, right? And I'm cutting here every almost half inch, just kind of large chunks. And you work around the globe of the ball, the roundness of the onion, right? Do the best you can, be safe, don't cut your fingers. Then I have the bear claw here, and I cut straight down through it, and that gives me a large dice. Big chunks of, you can tell my knife doesn't look the sharpest either because the ends aren't cutting through. It slipped a little bit. And then you have the root ball, and you can cut around that at the end so you don't waste any onion. Okay? So you kind of lift it and break it apart, and that gives you some larger onion chunks. Pretty quick, right? This is like good practice to be efficient in the kitchen. Next, I'm going to take the other side of the onion. I'm going to do a smaller dice. This is like every 1/8 inch I'm trying to cut through, every 1/4 to 1/8 inch. Cutting around, my knife kind of shifts to the shape or the angle that I'm going around the onion half a ball with, right? So this is how they make a blooming onion, I think, if they had a whole one at Outback. And they deep fry it when it's cut like this. Now this cut is super dangerous. I don't want you doing it really at home without me. And you only do it with large onions. I'm cutting halfway through the round part. And I tried to do it up there, but it didn't work. You just got a sense where it's not going to work for you, right? And now I have much smaller diced onions. And you can see I'm not capturing the end bits there, but it's a fast, effective way. Don't do that half cut unless you're with me in class or you feel confident you have a sharp knife. And I trimmed around the root ball, and there's a half onion. Large. These were large onions. When you're doing this with smaller onions, it's a little bit tougher. So something to consider when you're shopping for onions. So there's all my stuff that came out of the freezer, and it's not too thawed out, but that's my mise en place. And then I chopped up some parsley. You can freeze parsley in like ice cube trays with water or oil, but I just cut it fresh. And then this is lardons. You're going to be cutting your bacon into lardons. It's just small strips of bacon. And here's a safety and sanitation no-no. I have my parsley on my board. I should get an F for this, but you can see I'm just cutting. I took a stack of bacon with a very sharp knife, and you kind of have to saw through the fat of the bacon, but that's a lardon when you get these little pieces or little strips. It's nice to saute bacon up like that in that size. So we're going to throw that into the Dutch oven or any pot you have at home, and we're going to render our bacon fat. And you can see me producing the grease. I reversed the video there, sorry. But the grease will render out, and that's going to be the base for our soup. If you are pork free, you can just use olive oil at this point. You do not have to cut bacon, touch bacon, or any of that. So my pan's kind of gross looking, and I used a little bit of that fat. And I started with my mirepoix. Mirepoix is French for celery, carrot, and onion. That's a base for many soups and stocks. And I took the bacon out first before I sauteed that stuff. And there's the bacon fat that I rendered. And then I put all that stuff together, and I followed the recipe and cooked it through and added the liquid. Some of these images are a little out of order. I apologize. But you get the idea. Those are the potatoes that we had practiced with. They're all different kinds of shapes. But we're going to puree these up. So the shape of the potato I'm not too concerned with when you're making this soup. And I put my liquid in, brought it to a boil, let it simmer. In class, I'm going to blend this for you. I blended it with a Ninja at home, like a bullet. I'm sorry. You can use a blender. You can use a food processor. If the liquid's really hot, though, you got to be careful. So let it cool a little bit. And then this is the thickening agent that I added to the soup. A little flour in liquid. Whisk it up. And added it to the soup. Again, I'm not great at video editing, but you get the idea. And then I'm putting it into the Ninja to blend up a third of it, I think the recipe called for, blending a third. And you can see the pureed, blended parts added to the stuff we left behind. And you should never put paper on your stove like I did. And there's the heavy cream just to add some richness to the soup. And a little garnish of parsley, which you can put in your bowl. You can garnish your bowl with your cooked bacon, your parsley, and you can add some shredded cheese on top if you want. But there you go. That was a lot of bacon. Hopefully you'll get the gist of the knife skills. That's the goal, and you get a nice potato soup out of it. And you can freeze that potato soup.